So we'll start on the one on the left here, which is the send. It's the P.I.R unit, the send, the alarm, and the alarm. It's playing all of those. You notice on the other side I have the RF, and then the P.I.R receive alarm. Anyways, so feel free to pause it. The coding's not too gnarly. Include your virtual wire library, set your integers. This is actually set. I'd like to have another option pretty soon, but before I'm finished with this, to have a button to pause it. If I'm out in the garage or something and I don't want this thing beeping and going off, I want to be able to just maybe have a button on one of the unit, maybe the inside unit. I'd have to add another RF module, but this way I can turn it off or pause it while I'm doing stuff out there. So we're setting motion detected as low. We want it to always read it as low until it's sent high and activated. And then your alert, LED, your buzzer, and you want that button state. When it does start, you want it to read as low as well. Here you're setting your boolean. Then we'll do the setup. You want to do serial begin. Make sure you notice that ATtiny doesn't offer that. You can't do the serial on the ATtiny 85. I don't know about the other ones, but I do know with that one. I've tried and I just got errors, and I believe I heard it in another video that it doesn't have it. So I started digging through that data sheet. It's like 500 sheets long, so I haven't quite got there yet. I'm still around, with the first 70 pages or so. Anyways, so here we're setting our pin modes. The alert, obviously an output. The button would be an input when it does go there. It doesn't hurt to have it there right now. My code isn't so overloaded with space that it matters. Your buzzer is the output, and the sensor is an input because we're waiting for it to give a high. And then this is setting where you're going to be sending the transmitting data pin for the radio frequency. And then your data transfer speed. Now that's part of the one that Danny had wrote. I don't know what sets the 4,000 there, but I will soon enough. All right, so this is just sending this message. I think this is kind of irrelevant. The other end's just going to receive something. You can change this and say, just about anything, I believe. And then now we're here setting the motion detected. We want it to be reading in the loop. The first part of the loop, we want it to be reading every loop. That sensor's gone high. It's saying if it goes high, we want to initiate this. So the serial print shit works. It's just kind of that's just something you can change. It really doesn't matter. It's just to double check. As I've written here, comment it out if you don't, especially if you have the ATtiny 85 and you're trying to make this small, which this will end up on the ATtiny 85, at least for the receive alarm. So this is what we're initiating. Now we want just a couple flashes. I don't want it overkill. Every time that thing goes off, it'll give the 2 beeps or whatever. But after the first alert LED and buzzer, I've thrown in the delay, and then here's where we're going to send this data from that module. Now you'll notice on the other code over here, so the VW send on this side, and when you go to this side, it's VW receive the data. So if you're wondering where these numbers and all this come from, it's easy to jump between these two and see what we're sending to, I believe this is the device name right here, and then sending data, this one right here, that's the device. And then we're saying, based on this, max message length, just accept it, whatever. If we get this message, no, I'm sorry, let's back up. Let's finish this side. Essentially that one is done actually. So after all that is done, I noticed with the buzzer, I had an issue. If I set the first one right here goes me, and then we delay it, right? It sends some data. You move on down though, you get you do it again, but it stays high and it continues that frequency. And I didn't try to pull like an internal pull down or something, but I did notice when I wrote it to low at the end of the loop, it fixed it and it turned it off. Um, you know, I spent my first year of electronics, a little more than a year, learning the components and basics, and I didn't start. I had an Arduino this whole time, and I never used it. Um, I never really spent a lot of time learning it until now, which I think is definitely helpful to learn the guts of the electronics and the math especially. So on that's all you need for that side. Add more, take some out, whatever. So on this side, we're going to include that virtual wire library again. We're setting our integers for a buzzer and an LED. This one, all it needs to do is buzz and flash, and then that's it. I mean, of course, you can add more. You can have it send data back. We'll do a Wi-Fi similar to this in a video, but here we're setting the frequency for the tones. On this side, I decided to go with the tones. This side, we're going to go with just the analog bright with the frequency in that piece. Now, there was 14 in here in Danny's. I don't need 14, so essentially you could run 14 or less or more numbers here and set a frequency to each and make it play and essentially play tunes, but this is all I needed. I played with it until I got a sound that wasn't completely terrible and heinous to listen to, and left it that way. But it's fun to play with, find something you like. So we're going to get our setup. We're going to serial begin. Again, ATtiny85. I'll burn my lungs out telling everyone that, but so here's the VW. Same as the other side. We're setting that pin to 12 as well, same as the other side. And then setting the same data transfer speed as the other side. And then we're setting our pin mode. Your buzzer and the LEDs are both outputs. And then here we're going to transmit the start. Essentially, it's just setting up that unit. So then here we're calling, essentially waiting in the loop. We're waiting for that message to come. And then if it comes, we're going to do this shit. So this is essentially it's just a string it's going to play. Now, of course, you can do the math where you have this repeat so many times. I think this is really cool to help bounce around with tones. Essentially, you're counting the beeps and the flashes right here. So it's easy to understand what this is doing. If you want to, I would say it's really good to go to the math after this. Right after you get done playing with this, then get in and do the math part and learn how to turn this whole section right here into, essentially, you can make it, 2 chunks. I mean, maybe even, let's see, yeah, I think we would be fine with just 2 chunks. You can make it all work. But yeah, that's pretty much all of it. Okay, so once the coding's in and you've hooked up all the wires, that's all written out in that code. It should be pretty straightforward and simple. So this one right here is my receive side. Now it's sitting there and just waiting. This is my alarm and send side. Now we're going to go over something just a minute about that P.I.R sensor and the way it comes. But this is essentially how I have mine set up down. Again, playing those numbers will give you different noises and sounds you can add. Okay, so out the box, this is what probably looks familiar to everyone. The issue here is at least that I'm having, is these pots right here. When you pull these off, notice that the two lines tied together right here, you know, from your wiper pin and the other side. So what's weird is how you're supposed to adjust that with the wiper if it's stuck over there. You know, this might be just a throw it right in the newbie's face and whatever, but that's the point of me making videos, is I want to help with people having the same issues and not being kind of relayed in a newbie voice. So here I pulled out these pots that it comes with are 1 meg. Seems like a lot, especially from what I'm figuring out. Now my other one over there, the pots are pointed the opposite direction based on which way the little foot is. So really they're on opposite sides. Now it is, so my adjustments are on the bottom inside of this now. I don't really care. I wanted to be able to adjust it. But that's what I wanted to point out, because it drove me nuts because this thing didn't seem to work right, and it was really glitchy. Okay, I hope you got some use out of that video. I dug around for a long time on there trying to find this P.I.R sensor where it was alerting another thing, but not through Wi-Fi. But we'll go and do this next. We'll do the circuit board layout for the whole entire thing. This is where I just kind of started playing around and getting the solar to be a part of it. Hopefully it'll charge enough. I'll work out that math in another video. Probably won't be the next one, but who knows? I procrastinate a lot. Fucking airplanes. Aloha.